consumer research boys have brought out their long-awaited report on heads. 6 human heads were tested under laboratory conditions. Model A, the egghead, came through with flying colors. This head was easy to operate, maneuverable, and completely noiseless. In the words of the report, you wouldn't know you had one in the house. Model B, described by its owner as an irresistible bargain, didn't do too well at high temperatures and could be dangerous in the hands of novices or monks. Not a good buy. The remaining 4 models were classed as worthless and returned to the opposition benches.
Oh, tut, tut, tut.
Ah, Prodnose, what seems to be the trouble? Death Watch Beetle?
All this stuff about heads is very dull.
Really? Then a merry joke. It appears there was a funeral going uphill when the coffin fell off the catafalque and started to slide backwards down the hill. Whereupon the corpse leaped from the coffin, rushed into a chemist and said, "Pardon me, sir, can you give me something to stop me coughing?"
But how can a corpse have a cough?
It's going to be a long, hard winter. A rather curious case is being heard in the High Court just now. A man wearing a false beard had it caught in the swing doors of the Hotel Gorgeous. The man who rented the beard is suing Beards Limited, who are in turn suing the Despard Glue Quarries, who supplied the glue for the false beard. And Mrs. Tufts Calvally, who was in the swing door when the beard was caught in it, is suing the Miss Barge who laughed at her. A clergyman named Umbold Mintz has decided to intervene, and the Greater London Council is suing him for the intervention. All the cases are being heard concurrently, and a Mr. Justice Cocklegarrett presides.
It has been established, my lord, that the beard was pulled off the lessee's chin by the action of the swing door. It must therefore be asked, is the beard a fixture or a fitting?
My lord, the Housing Act of 1927 makes no mention of false beard.
And yet I venture to suggest, my lord, that it is a fixture, like a gas oven.
To be connected or disconnected by an official? My lord, I maintain that it is a fitting, like a towel rail. I have never regarded false beards in the light of gas ovens.
With respect, Mr. Duck Driver, none of us have. You might as well say that a real beard is like a water system because it cannot be detached at will.
But it can be by switching it off at the mains, and no one can switch a false beard off at the mains.
Might I venture to suggest that under the
Who are you?
I am Stanley Mulberry, the cause of all this trouble about the beard. I was the man wearing it.
What do you want?
Well, I wondered, as I brought the case, if you might care to hear my evidence.
Well, this is really most irregular, but I suppose if you insist, get into the witness box. Your witness, Mr. Hermitage.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Mulberry, where were you on Thursday, January the 18th, 1926?
Does that matter?
My lord, I hope to show that this is not the first time that this gentleman has had his false beard trapped in a swing door.
Very well. Answer yes or no, Mr. Mulberry.
The question, as I understand it...
You are not here to understand questions, but to answer them. Proceed, Mr. Hermitage.
Thank you, my lord. Let me put it another way. On Thursday, January the 18th, 1926, where were you?
That's better.
Taunton.
What do you mean, Taunton? You can't just say Taunton, it doesn't make sense.
That's what I was, my lad.
Where?
Taunton.
There you go again. What kind of an answer is Taunton? I simply won't have such a thing. If you don't answer the questions properly, I shall have to make an order for restraint of injunction and a capacity of default.
I am prepared to settle out of court.
Settle what out of court? Surely there's nothing as yet to settle. Nothing has transpired. We have heard no evidence on either side, either for or against. As a matter of fact, the preliminaries of this case have merely accentuated the confusion. Wait a few years and see what transpires.
Very well, my lord.
Call the next witness.
Call the 12 red-bearded dwarfs.
Call the 12 red-bearded dwarfs.
Not those terrible small gentlemen again. This is intolerable. What brings you here, you dwarfs?
Ah, yes, well, we are concerned in the action brought by the Phineas Copper Hairnet Trading Company and the National Mortgage Indemnity Agency against Mrs. Warple, Mohammed Brown, the Constructional Rebate Pitcher Plant, Maracaibo United and Sicily Dubois, for recovery of stamping costs.
Well, I can assure you, you're living on borrowed time. Now tell me, and be careful how you answer, what has this to do with false beards?
Nothing, my lordship. Absolutely nothing.
Thank you very much for British justice. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much for summer solstice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, you are now witnessing an attempt to make British justice look even sillier and beastlier than it is. Clear this damnable court!
And to further while away the time, here is a merry competition. My first is a clergyman's treacle spanner. My second is a wedge-like covering for porcelain teeth. My third is a frozen Arab sock. My fourth is less than the colour of a bloater in October, and the whole resembles a Dutch uncle frightener. What am I? First prize, the pyramids. Second prize, a free burial at sea with a woman of your own choice.
Hello. I am the Snibbo Research Director. Now, last week I told you about Multi-Snibbo, the simple cure for everything. Now, since the announcement of this incredible product, the response has been quite staggering. We've had a most gratifying number of testimonials from every quarter. Hear first what Mrs. Claude has to say.
For 48 years I have been a martyr to blushing. When anyone looked at me or spoke to me, I could feel the colour suffusing my face, neck, forehead, arms and legs. Then I tried Multi-Snibbo, and I can now converse freely with all my friends without blushing.
Hear now what the Reverend E. Clark Fundle has to say.
17 of my little boy's freckles have completely disappeared.
Even in faraway devices, the praises of Multi-Snibbo are sung. Hear Mr. G. Sturgeon on the subject.
I tried Snibbo on the door of my potting shed. It has never squeaked since.
Yes, use Multi-Snibbo for teeth and gums and other ornaments.
Is another world watching us? Indeed it is, dear viewer. A recent observer described an unidentified flying object as having a large body and a small curly tail. The enlightened mind would dismiss this as a comet, and he would be wrong. What the observers saw was quite clearly a giant-sized scampi. Perhaps reconnoitering before our planet is invaded by seafood from outer space. We can all play our part in defending the sceptred isle by laying in a supply of Source-to-Tar bullets. Act now, or preferably after you have witnessed the latest outbreak of Captain Fowlernuff. Recently he was observed, albeit fleetingly, at a public dinner.
You were saying, Lady Stanley?
I was saying, young man, that not many of our old families can boast that a Savile Row tailor calls 4 times a year at their country estate to measure the scarecrows for new soup.
That's frightfully good, don't you think, Mark?
I remember once I was crossing a river in crocodile-infested Wara country. I was halfway across when I glanced at my watch and saw that it was 7:30.
Dinner time?
Precisely.
What did you do?
What could I do? I changed. Of course, the lady porters had to lift me out of the water so that I could get my trousers on. But by the time I arrived on the far bank, I was in white tie and tail.
and miniatures.
Of course. I flatter myself that from that moment, every Boara tribesman could recognize a gentleman when he saw one. That was in 38, of course.
Wasn't that the year you got your OBE cast out?
Yes. Got that for wearing an opera hat during a night attack on a mutinous tribe. I remember once...
The speeches.
Milords, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for your toast, master.
I say, haven't we got that wrong?
Yes, yes, toast! Toast with the compliments of your toast master!
I report a conversation I overheard the other day. A man asked his friend, "Where do you usually go nowadays for your shooting?" And his friend replied, "The National Provincial Bank." All over the country, people are asking, how long can he keep it up? They mean, of course, the fantastically high standard set by the early readings from the anthology of Huntingdonshire Cabmen. Tonight, as we savor the delights of gel to ove, you'll be amazed to find we've surpassed ourselves.
Jellaby, O.J. Clack Wince, B.D. Mincefumber, E. Mouse Carpet, F.O. Nuck, Joe, E. Nuck, the Elder. Knucklefinger, B.O. Otter Basket, W. Otter Biscuit, Simon. Outrage, Vladimir. Outrage, Wally. Overwrite, Clark. Overwrought, J. Persimmon.
The latest news from Narkover is that there's to be a new matron at the school, a Miss Sonia Putsnitsinya. She was for some years in the back row of the chorus at the Gaiety Theatre. Bangkok. Come in!
Hello, Doctor.
Well, what do you...
I'm Sonia Puznitska, the new matron.
And I'm the old headmaster. Welcome to Narkover.
Prozne Bope Dushinka.
Yes, yes, indeed. Do sit down, matron. Now tell me, have you had much experience with youths?
Of course. I love them all.
I think we're going to get on very well together, matron. How about a little pick-me-up? You must be tired after your journey.
Thank you.
Vodka?
Yes, thank you.
Now, matron, your duties will not be overtaxing, just tending to the welfare of the boys, and, of course, from time to time, myself.
Na zdrowie.
Cheers. Do sit down. Well, we at Narkover like to pass our leisure time in an innocent game of cards. Do you play?
Of course I do, you naughty boy.
Care for a game?
Of cards?
Of course.
I warn you, I'm hot stuff.
At cards?
Of course.
I knew I'd done the right thing when I put that advertisement on the stage. Poker?
You are using your pack?
Oh, why not?
Oh, may I have a cigarette?
Yes, of course, certainly. Oh, how stupid of me. I've dropped them all. Would you help me pick them up?
Yes, of course.
Oh, Miss Puchnitskaya, Sonia,
Yes, Headmaster.
Oh, Sonia, you set my blood aflame.
Oh, Headmaster.
Oh, Sonia.
You naughty boy.
Shall we play? Four aces. I'll see you, matron.
Going to swallow it.
You'll soon get used to our little ways, matron. Another game.
Will Dr. Smart Alec reach the top of matron's stocking again, or will Sir Edmund Hillary beat him to it? Soon and again, next for the next gripping installment, etc., etc. And now, epitaph. Tread softly, bid a solemn music sound. Here, in a little plot of English ground, lies Smudger, who sold us medicated beer, double-crossed his friends, and died a peer. And now, advertisement corner.
Will the Cambodian conjurer who shot the goldfish bowl to pieces, killing the goldfish, please return the handkerchief he borrowed from his hostess to cover the bowl?
Bootlaces for dogs' boots, hand woven. Please apply, Peasant Bootlace Shop, Trevor Square.
Christmas! Give umbrella ferrules and be the most popular man at the party.
Chinese in 1 week. Right, Sid Gappett, care of Tom Calgo, Roustabout Hall, Chelmsford.
Wanted urgently. Artificial nose of medium size for gentleman with reasons of his own.
We must apologize for a mistake in our last week's recipe in our series, Meals in a Hurry. And we're very grateful to all of the correspondents who have recovered sufficiently to write to us about it. And now, Dr. Strabismus, whom God preserve, of Utrecht.
Good evening. Many small ship's orchestras sometimes risks the possibilities of sinking when playing music upon a sinking ship, as in the case of the Titanic, when the entire orchestra went down playing. This was not easy for them, as they had not been trained in subaquatic performance. Therefore tonight, I am going to try and show you how to play the trumpet underwater. I want you to imagine that I am a white Louis Armstrong on the deck of a sinking liner. The untrained player will play so. You will notice that the moment he went below sea level, you could not hear him playing. This means that the people in the lifeboats would stop dancing. No. Is so. This way, you can play an extra 2 choruses before you are drowned. Next week, I'll be telling you how to skin a catfish with a mandolin using the G string alone.
I read today the story of a woman who met her brother after 78 years and hit him with her umbrella because he was still wearing the same bowler. Which recalls us who love literature, the lines of Keats, Shakespeare, or anybody. We had waited 12 years for his coming, with welcome displayed on the mat. But imagine our rage when he turned up in a little round wickerwork hat. He was gentle and loving as ever, with a small bit of fish for the cat. But the family just couldn't stomach his little round wickerwork hat. Was this what we'd prayed for and dreamed of? In our loneliness, impudent brat? To return after 12 years in exile in a little round wickerwork hat? Mrs. McGurgle, the doyen of seaside landladies, queen of water watery greens, steamed fish and reheated spuds, continues with her efforts to create a continental atmosphere at Marine House, not without difficulty. Our investigator at Sorbonne, Mervyn Glue.
Mrs. McGurgle, what plans have you for next season at Casa McGurgle?
Oh, la la, Mr. Glue, it will be magnifique. The food will be fit to rival the eating hells of Marseillaise. And the milk stout will be served aslant in wicker baskets. At our bi-weekly sing-songs, or soirees as I care to call them, the continental motif will be strongly in evidence. I myself have learned the words of several saucy songs, many of them in a foreign tongue. Yes, gay abandon is now to be our watchword, Mr. Glue.
A comment from Monty Clouds.
We old hands would rather Marine House stayed as it was. The new regime's a sight too racy for us. Let those who wish feast on paella on toast and risotto and chips. Mrs. Clouds and I prefer our rice with a dollop of jam on it. And that goes for our entertainment too. Fat stock prices, followed by Sandy McPherson and Max Jaffer on the wireless, are more palatable to us than the wild fandangos, split skirts and hennaed hair. I thank you, Monty Clouds.
Mr. Clouds would seem to suggest that I am arranging for bullfights on the promenade. Let me hasten to assure him that such is not our intention. We do not intend setting ourselves up as a house of ill fame, shall we say, in Buenos Aires.
Come in, N.D. Numpley.
I, for one, will not go to Marine House anymore. I have to think of my daughter, who is at the impressionable age of 37, and who I do not wish to expose to continental frivolity. I suppose it'll now be all snails and garlic, as I hear that the new cook was formerly a dancer at the Moulin Rouge.
There is no truth whatever in the rumor that Mrs. Trudge, the cook, was a dancer. On the contrary, she was a washerwoman in Nuneaton. And Mr. Trudge, as his name suggests, is not so much a rich Parisian boulevardier as a somewhat seedy pawnbroker's assistant. Perhaps that will set at rest the fears of the parents of impressionable sons and daughters like Mr. Numpley. Casa McGurgle flings open its portals to one and all. Come and see for yourselves. Old.
Eh?
Here is yet another children's poem by Automobile Association Milne. Entitled When We Were Very Sick. Forward, Theobald James 11.
Hush, hush, whisper who dares. Christopher Robin has fallen downstairs.
Never missed.
Speak up.
Never missed a season, and I have been a member of the MCC for many hundreds of years. I can remember when the players wore doublet and hose. Lord's was a desolate place in those days, haunted by highwaymen. Many a man was held up on his way to the crease and had his bat and pads stolen.
Have you,
What?
Have you noticed any other changes?
Well, the boys don't hit as they used to, and the dresses are shorter than... Surely, you're my old friend's great-granddaughter.
No.
Yes, I thought so. At the tavern last season, I thought I saw Queen Victoria.
And was it her?
If it was, she's wearing devilish well. Whoever it was, she cut me dead. The tavern. The tavern where tanned men from the lonely outposts of empire rub shoulders with rosy-faced bishops, and the laughing eyes of slim girls bestow the guerdon of their approval. Play up, play up, play the game.
This could not happen in any other country.
A peer was stalking a roebuck in a misty Scottish glen. Bang went his well-charged rifle. A miss, then bang again. 2 misses, roared his lordship, as his stockings trailed in the wet. Serves me right for not wearing a thoroughbred garterette.
When you're banging away in the heather...
The Filthy Stand Trio are being auditioned by Mr. Colin Velvet, a producer of such ballets as The Tub of Lard, L'Oiseau sur le Chapeau de Nelly, Adieu Beau Fromage, and Sea Moonlight on Stilts. He's considering the possibility of engaging the trio for his new ballet, Iphigenia in Taurus. Enter.
We are the 3 filthies, and I am Ashura.
I am Kazwullah.
And Ridivagan. My dear madam, we are very proud to be welcoming here, for you have been to call us, for we have arrived here.
We are trying to get you interested in the seesaw.
Oh, that's right, sir. This plank here. This is the plank which we gently but firmly place here on the belly here of Ashura.
And we are doing it just for sport.
Oh, for sport.
Just for sport, but not cruel sport.
No, madam, it is not cruel sport.
No. You see, when we are laying the plank on Ashura's belly, it is not hurting him because he is having a big bath mat up his vest. It is from our lodgings in the Cromwellian Road.
And astonishingly good luck to you, you pretty man. A demonstration.
We will show you. We will show you.
Lovely, darlings, lovely, quite splendid. One definitely does so need rhythm in ballet, and you Persians are definitely rhythmic in your soulèvement, actually.
Actually, how are you learning such a rude Persian word?
Persian? Yes.
The word actually, sir, is indeed very good Persian.
Yeah.
The word actually means fertilizer, and we are laughing because you have said fertilizer.
I really had no intention of saying fertilizer, actually.
Why you fertilizer?
Fertilizer, very nicely quiet. The action of the ballet takes place in a forest glade. The queen of the butterflies lies asleep. Enter a hunter.
Tally ho! Tally he!
Tandini!
Oh, folks,
Now this
Hello,
this
Mrs. Wilson.
hunter
Yes, sir.
spies the sleeping queen of the butterflies and adjusts his bow and arrow.
Before leaving.
Lucky! The naughty hunter is fighting the butterflies with a bow and arrow. Bully for him! Bully for him!
Brave hunter is a brave man. Lovely.
No. Actually, you
had it again! Actually, fertilizer!
Lovely man.
Lovely man.
the velvet. I've come to give me notice.
But why, Mrs. Bulstrode?
I've heard the noises that these gentlemen were making, and I can't be doing with it, not with my feet.
Oh, but they don't mean it. Not actually. I mean, not really.
Come on, lovely Davy. Let us introduce...
Next season I shall definitely stick to Coppelia, actually.
And now, for those of you who complain this program teaches them nothing, an historical note. The telephone first came into everyday use in Philadelphia in 1890. The bath reached Philadelphia in 1840. Any one of you who were lucky enough to be living in Philadelphia in 1840 had 50 years in which to take a bath without having to get up to answer the phone.